I just laughed off public harassment because I chose to be a female mason. UDP agent complains of malpractices in voter registration. And Tough Africa Global launches 2 ultra-modern business towers. This and more coming on Gambia 24. Good evening, this is Gambia 24 News Bulletin with me, Mariama Cham, and thanks for joining us. Now, male-dominated industries and occupations are practically vulnerable to reinforce muscular stereotypes that make it even more difficult for women to excel in them. Women continue to encounter challenges in these industries as most of the ventures dominated by men are seen by the society as a no-go area for women. But a 20-year-old girl in the Gambia is breaking the barrier as she believes that harassment from the public for doing a male-dominated work will not distract her from achieving her dream. Details in this report. Women have been trying to break away from norms and traditional standards set by society. They have been marching for equal rights and fighting for their rightful place in the world, especially in a job market dominated by men. In the Gambia, society brands women who are into male-dominated areas such as carpentry and masonry as funny and ridiculous. Sophie Sarr, a 20-year-old girl, says she laughs at society ridiculing her for being a female masonry worker. To Sophie, nothing can stop her from practicing the career she chose for herself despite being publicly harassed.
So si nekkee bulee afraid bulee xool boti nit comme doo dem fen.
When you do this kind of work, don't be afraid what people will say or how they will look at you. If you mind those things, you won't progress. I, Sophia, I'm not concerned about what people say because I choose this work for myself. Nobody forces me. People always talk about me. Sometimes people will harass me because of my job, but I don't mind them. I just laugh it off because I know it's my job. No need to stand and confront people. Then I'll be waiting for my time, and I will never get angry either.
The underlying assumptions surrounding gender roles has had a negative effect on organizational culture, putting females at a disadvantage. Sophie says one of the challenges she is faced with in her work is people not willing to pay or not paying her services at all. Sophie also encouraged her mates who have learned the academic side of masonry to make best use of it by implementing what they learn in the classroom.
Gis naa lu bëri loo xam ne lu metti la suñ kaw parce que am na yenn saa da ngaa liggéeyaa nit ki du la fay.
As we speak, it is difficult to see many women doing this type of job in the Gambia, though we have some of them. I was in the same class with some other females, and not all of them ended it because they did not want to go to the field to implement what they learned. You cannot only stay with the hard papers, no. You need to go out to the field to do the job. I have seen many things which are really a challenge to us. Because sometimes you will work with someone and the person will not pay you. Sometimes you will call to make a follow-up for your pay, but they won't respond or even reject your calls. Or you have a contract with someone and nothing is left but to get paid. They will be twisting and turning you.
Meanwhile, Sophie's boss, Abdoulaye Boy, CEO of Wisdom Construction and Business Enterprise, describes Sophie as a hard-working individual.
Since I started working with her, I discovered a willingness in her. It is something very rare to find among her mates doing such kind of jobs. I was working with many others when I was at Inside Training as a center manager, but I have not seen someone so kind like her. One thing about her is that she does most of the jobs given to her, no matter the type. She always has her own way of making it work. She needs more encouragement and motivation in what she is doing. So the only way Safi can be encouraged and motivated is to support her to further her studies to higher levels, as she already has a certificate in construction.
Safisa did many other jobs like plumbing, electrician, and many others before she finally took masonry as a career in which she has been engaging for the past 4 years. The 20-year-old thanked her family for allowing her to take masonry as a career, as she recognizes their support since the beginning. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Mariama Cham. Now, Tough Africa Global earlier today has launched the foundation for 2 ultra-modern edifices to be known as the Peace of Dubai in the Gambia. Each of the twin towers will provide a space of about 5,000 square meters with state-of-the-art facilities in terms of air conditioning and security system. 2 elevators and 2 staircases will be among the features of each of the structures, with parking lots for hundreds of vehicles, a firefighting system, and internet facilities. The first and biggest private estate developer in the Gambia and present in 7 other African countries including Nigeria, is currently the architect of 10-year mixed-use business park in the Banjul International Airport. The project, estimated at over $300 million, is significant in the hosting of the Summit of World Leaders by the Organization of Islamic Conference in the Gambia next year. The tough twin retail towers in Kanifing are designed with 5 floors office space, with 2 ground floors reserved for banking, supermarkets, and restaurants. When completed, it will be the largest, by far the most sophisticated structure in the Gambia to enroll into the list of business hubs in the West African sub-region. So now joining me to discuss more on this is the main man, the Chief Executive Officer of Tough Africa Global, Mustafa Njai. Mr. Vanjai, thanks for joining us, and let me first ask you, what is the motivation behind the Tough Twin Tower?
Well, thank you very much for having me here. The motivation is that, one of the characteristics of a good entrepreneur is to be innovative, and I thought that, look, I need to be innovative in this country. If you go across West Africa, you will find that there are structures like this, as close as us, like in Dakar. So why not have it in the Gambia? And since we are leaders in the real estate development business, I thought that, look, let us start something new, and that's really the motivation.
Tough Africa is calling on individuals and businesses for booking right from the launching. How soon will this project be completed?
The project will be completed in January 2023, inshallah. This is very normal. If you go to Dubai, for example, what happened is when they launch, they sell off plan. So meaning that interested tenants will register their interest, they'll pay a deposit, a confirmed booking, so that then by the time that it's ready for occupation, they can move in.
And also, how much money in partnership is required for the Twin Tower? Is Tough alone in this?
No, we're not alone in this. We're in partnership, financial partnership with EcoBank Gambia. EcoBank Gambia is financing it. They are financing the majority of it as our banks. And then we are also putting our money as the developer. So they are our financial partners. Apart from EcoBank Gambia, no, we are solely doing it. This is 100% being done by Tough Africa Global.
So finally, Mr. Njai, you earlier tweeted that the Tough Towers are known as a piece of Dubai in the Gambia. So what does this really mean?
Well, what it means that, look, all of us know that, we go to Dubai and we admire all these edifices. So why don't we have it in the Gambia? That's the question I've asked myself. We all want to develop. We want to be like a modern state. So why can't we have it in the Gambia? I mean, somebody needs to start it. So why can't we start it as Gambians? So this is why I call it a piece of Dubai in the Gambia.
Thank you so much, Mr. Njai, for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And that was Mr. Njai talking to me about the idea behind his company's newly launched project. Now, still on Gambia 24 News. It was about 6 months ago that the leader of the United Democratic Party, lawyer Ousainou Darboe, accused the Barrow-led government of making plans to start rigging elections by allowing people from neighboring Senegal to register. The controversial claim has raised concerns among Gambians ahead of the national voter registration process that commenced on Saturday. Bintu Kamara, a UDP agent attached at the Latrikuna Civic Castle Petrol Station Voter Registration Center, says they have already started detecting malpractices in the voter registration process. Fatmata Kasim has the rest of that.
Element of the electoral process. It is that which enables a citizen of a particular country to exercise the freedom of electing their leaders. To be able to do that, one has to show willingness to have his or her name inserted in the voter register, and after completing the process, a voting card is issued. To Bintu Kamara, one of the difficulties they are encountering as agents is the malpractice in voter registration process.
We are encountering difficulties here because we caught a foreigner here who was issued a voter's card, and that is not right. The election is meant for only the Gambian citizens. You should not vote in your country and also want to vote in someone else's country. That's an offense, and that's above the law. This is one of the problems we are facing here.
However, Fatou Silla, the representative of the National People's Party, contradicted that claim, saying everything was going well, but quick to acknowledge that the only problem they faced was a man that brought a forged Alcalo document. According to her, the man was asked to go back and bring the original document. If not, he won't be allowed. She said they are going to sensitize their communities about the voter registration.
Each party is doing their work because we are going to each compound to sensitize both the youth and all about voter registration. Even though we are agents, we still call our people to come and get their voters' cards. I am here supervising. If I don't see anyone I know, I will pick up my phone and call to remind them about the registration. For me, I am doing my work as expected.
Fatou Mboj, one of the applicants, said even though the process is slow, it is worth the wait. She urged Gambians to come out in their large numbers to register, as their vote is their voice.
As
we always emphasize that every Gambian should put the nation first. Even though we have other engagements, we should prioritize Gambia. We are asking all Gambians to step out of their houses and come out and register to show their patrioticness, because our vote is our voice.
The Independent Electoral Commission started registration to issue eligible Gambians with voters' card on the 29th of May and is expected to end on the 11th July 2021. The IEC said all applicants must have or will have attained the age of 18 by 4th December 2021 and must not be disqualified or disentitled from being registered or voting under any law. For iAfrica News, I am Fatoumata Kasim.
In the report by Fatmata Kasim on the alleged malpractices during the voter registration in Latrikunda will take us to a break, and we will be back with the rest of the news on Gambia 24.
Following the announcement by the Independent Electoral Commission, the IEC, of the dates for the general voter registration scheduled from the 29th of May to 11th July 2021, the National Council for Civic Education, NCCE, reminds the public that voter registration is an integral part of the electoral process, as it is key to franchise as stated in Section 39 of the Constitution, and hence a civic right and a duty for all eligible Gambians. The NCCE therefore encourages every eligible citizen to fully participate in this crucial national exercise, as it is the basis for any credible and participatory election. The National Council for Civic Education informs the public that to register and acquire a voter's card in the upcoming general voter registration exercise, one has to prove your Gambian citizenship by producing one of the following documents as stated in Section 12 of the Elections Act: birth certificate, ID card, passport, or alcalo or district chief attestation. As the Gambia prepares for this very important national exercise, the National Council for Civic Education reminds the public to stay away from any altercation and refrain from the use of abusive language, provocative actions, intimidations, thugs, and physical confrontation at all times, as these contravene the laws of the Gambia. The public is encouraged to follow due process to seek redress when the need arises during the period to ensure that peace and stability prevail throughout the process. Voters card is your key to franchise. Register to vote and vote wisely. This message is brought to you by the National Council for Civic Education, NCCE, with support from the United Nations Development Programme.
Lawyer Dabo argues that although the government under former President Yahya Jammeh was accused of corruption, the accusers are today condoning.
Welcome back, and this is still Gambia 24 News. With the fast-growing digital migration, business operations as well as individual social errands are getting increasingly compatible with the World Wide Web. Along the line with scientific advancement, tech applications and their systems stands a chance of being controversial of a development destruction depending on their usage. This exponential growth of the internet is one end avail criminals the right ammunition to pursue their expertise in hunting victims at the comfort zones of their illegal offices. Details of that in this report by Sahna Tunkara.
The carnage of cybercrime for the use of computer on the internet as instrument to further illegal activities surfaced in the 21st century. Crimes such as identity theft, fraud, money laundering, and pornography occurred everywhere, posing a threat to any internet user. It has been argued that the outbreak of coronavirus has also given birth to an unwavering impact on women even in the Gambia. The virtual traffic does not only relate to economic drainage, but also psychological upsets for victims of cybercrimes. Instances of leakage of either real or graphically make-up digital portraits with attempt to hold women at ransom or just to degrade their status in society have been recorded. Cases are not left unattended to, as law enforcement authorities and Human Rights Watch are also found within the threat of cybercrime issues. The business development manager of Joko Labs Banjul, Madeline Ileleji, exposed cybercriminals for the usage of digital production as tool to suppress personal progress of well-meaning people in society.
So in digital security, we would say to protect yourself, what you do offline, it's the same thing that you have to do online. Make sure that you are mindful of the type of information you share with the general public. Make sure you're also mindful of the type of images that you share with friends and people you also have intimate relationship.
The Gambia Police assured that special arrangements apply to fraudulent use of online banking, urging the public to report cases on the toll-free 112 line. Public Relations Officer of the Gambia Police Force, Superintendent Lamin Jai, acknowledged reports of cyber targets on women, but was quick to blame the culture of silence in the adjudication of such crimes.
The laws of the Gambia does not cover a lot of issues that are happening on the computer or on the internet regarding cybercrime. And so that's a challenge sometimes. Certain things that are definitely chargeable offenses somewhere else, we may find it difficult to charge somebody, but we are doing our utmost best to ensure that issues of cybercrime, especially when it is directed to women, are being dealt with.
Another aspect of the challenge is the fact that specific laws governing cybercrime activities are not in place. The situation, in fact, led to a march passed in September calling on government and stakeholders to take measures to cope cybercrimes in the Gambia. For African News, Sohna Tunkara.
Lawyer Usaini Dawo, the Secretary General and leader of the United Democratic Party, tells a rally in Brufut that corruption is endemic in the Gambia and that a government under his party will consider corruption as enemy. He described the situation as so grave that a one-term presidency from the 2021 election wouldn't be enough for any government to remedy the situation. He called on politicians to be more tolerant despite the build-up to the December presidential elections. Details in this report by Omar Ahmad Toure.
Lawyer Dabo argues that although the government under former President Yahya Jammeh was accused of corruption, the accusers are today condoning the same practice.
Will form a government may for corruption.
We will form a government which will be an enemy to corruption. There are many wrong things happening in this country because corruption is endemic. Corruption is deeply rooted here. I will call it a rat race. Someone is building a story building, I will also build one. And someone has a new car, I will also get a new one.
The leader of the United Democratic Party argues that the Gambia is faced with multiple problems which no politician can fix in 5 years from now. He, however, pledged the implementation of policies in response to the need of Gambians in terms of development once elected into office.
The Gambia is facing a lot of problems, and any politician who promises to fix it in the next 5 years is not telling you the truth. However, agriculture, food security, nutrition are things which, if you put us in power, will be addressed, and hunger will become a history in this country. If you see youth embarking on the back way, they lack opportunities. So therefore, our youth employment, our youth empowerment, if you vote us in, you will see difference in that area.
He told rousing supporters in Kombono that Gambian youth will not embark on deadly backway in search for better lives in the West, as a government under UDP will provide for their needs right at home. Criticizing the current situation of health delivery service, he says the terrible situation will be overhauled. The presidential hopeful accused some politicians of holding political vendetta against people who they differ with in opinion.
If I do not espouse and embrace your views, does not mean that I'm ignorant. Does not mean that I am insensitive to the problems of this country. It just shows that you have not been able to convince me as to the validity of your position. We cannot keep on blaming the electors of this country for the state in which we are. Nor can we continue to blame the electors of this country because of the dwindling nature of our political fortunes. We cannot do that.
Mr. Dabo encourages people to acquire voters' cards in order to effect the change they are yearning for. He was speaking during the mega rally in Burfoot, in which the national presidents of UDP, Bajamba Bojang, Ajiya Munda Uyabo, and Rohi Malik Law were presented to the party supporters. Reporting for iAfrica TV, this is Omar Ahmadu Toure.
In that report by Omar Ahmad Toure on lawyer Dabo, the Secretary General and leader of the United Democratic Party, who told a rally in Burfoot that corruption is an endemic in the Gambia and that a government under his party will consider corruption as enemy, brings us to the end of Gambia 24 News. I am Mariama Cham. Thanks for watching and to have a good night.